Welcome to AI Marketing, a podcast for sales and marketing professionals that want to increase their sales, leads, and conversions through the use of artificial intelligence solutions. And now, here's your host, Mark Fidelman.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI Marketing. Today's topic, how CMOs can lead the AI marketing shift. I know all of you are thinking about where should I position myself, the company, the marketing team. This is a major problem. I don't know if we're going to have all the answers today, but I did bring in an expert today, Lee Hackett, and we're going to talk about how you should do this. And, our final question is what you should do tomorrow morning after listening to this. So before we jump in, Lee, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, looking great to be here. Lee Hackett, as you said, Group CEO of Blueprint X. So we're a global consultancy focusing in strategic and digital transformation across sales, marketing, and service.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say consultant because, I think the consultant days are numbered given what I'm seeing. I spent 6 years at A.T. Kearney, and I'm telling you, ChatGPT 5 is coming pretty close. The only thing it's not doing are the decks really well. But other than that, wow, it's pretty amazing. But since you've guided enterprise leaders through AI adoption and marketing adoption, if you were a CMO today, where would you start to get the fastest competitive edge from AI?
Yeah, great question. Look, Mark, I think the real opportunity right now is in how work gets done. I think there's a huge kind of influx of SaaS-based AI products which are targeted at go-to-market leaders. We've all seen them. We major in kind of Adobe and Salesforce and those big platforms, and what they're doing in Agentforce and what they're doing in Gen AI is kind of blows my mind on a daily basis, and I'm kind of in it every day. But I really do feel that, how work gets done, the productivity side of things in terms of, the cost right now of how content gets produced, how content gets distributed, workflows, all of those kind of things are really what what our CMO should be looking at right now. I think that would provide the biggest gain, the biggest leverage to a CMO in pretty much any industry right now, I think.
Okay. And, I know there's a lot of, misconceptions that CMOs have about AI marketing right now, but what's the truth? Is AI really going to take our jobs? Is it going to supplement our jobs? Where do you see it all happening?
Look, I think it's going to be human in the loop, no doubt. But I think you're going to have, where you may have 10 marketers, you may have 3 or 4. And I think that's here and now, right? That's achievable now. That's not something which is kind of down the line. And so I think the productivity gains are huge, the leverage gains huge. How you can market, how you can get content done, how you can get it to market. I think it needs a huge amount of experimentation and the ability to fail fast. Obviously, CMOs have got to manage the day job and do all the things they've got to do while experimenting with these new tools. But for the CMOs that I see that are kind of all in on this, and I think that's absolutely vital. This is not something you can be doing at the side of your desk. This has to be the kind of centerpiece of everything that you're doing, and that kind of transformation across data and AI. I think that this is real. It's only going to go faster. I don't see it slowing down. I think it is all going to be about adoption, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many tools coming out, literally thousands, and most of them apply to marketers because that's a big sweet spot, that and programmers. The way I've been advising, my friends that are CMOs is to have somebody on their staff constantly be showing them new AI technology that's coming out because it's constant and how that could apply. So let them be the first filter, and then they bring it to you with here's how we can make things better or more efficient or cost effective within the organization, or if you're a marketing agency within their client base, or make them more powerful as a marketing agency. So that's what I've been advising them. But for me, the truth is AI agents are the next evolution. You should all be focused on creating some. They're not that powerful yet because they don't have what's called model context protocol spread out across all the databases. So you can't grab information from all these databases in order to provide this real CMO dashboard or have it do automated things yet. It's getting close. You could do single things that are automated, and it's constantly, for example, looking at competitors and compiling reports and giving you actionable advice around that. That could be done today. But all this is coming in a year. The CMO job is going to look a little bit different. Probably have less team members because you won't need them. A lot of AI agents will take over a lot of the things that are being done today. I'd say SEO is probably going to die a slow death, not overnight. You're going to want to, have some people focus on, okay, how do we get the LLMs to surface what we're doing? Because I don't know about you, Lee, but most of my queries now go to either ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok, depending on what the query is. And I can imagine that Google's losing out on a lot of those searches. I'm still thinking they're doing quite well, but as these things get more powerful, you're not going to want to search most things on Google anymore.
No, definitely. I think there's a huge, the tactics are going to change kind of radically. I think for any CMO, Mark, I think the kind of get down to the brass tacks of it. It's what is that kind of strategy? And when I talk to our customers and talk to most of our customers are global businesses with CMOs who are right at the epicenter of this. Is this is something you've got to be kind of all in on doing yourself and really understanding how the tools work. I really agree with what you said about the team members kind of looking at the different tools, testing them, trialing them. I think what I see is one tool 1 week, and then the next tool, something comes out the week after, that's even better. And as I said, you've got this explosion of kind of really independent SaaS tools, which I actually think most will be gone within.
Yeah.
And they'll burn really, really bright, but then most will be gone within a very short period of time because the bigger models are just kind of consume all of that. It's a bit like, you remember when we had a Torch app on the iPhone, and I think you had to pay for it. Now that's just kind of built in, and I think that's just the way it's going to go. But what we talk to our customers about, we kind of run, a lot of foundries with our customers in terms of really, showing them the power of the tools and what they can do and how they can do it. But this is something I, really keen to be encouraging our customers and CMOs to do every day. Live, breathe it, embrace it as much as you can because it's here.
Yeah, it's not going away. And if you don't embrace it, you'll be replaced 100%. And I hate being this blunt, but I also care about who's listening. And it's not that AI is going to replace the CMO. It's going to be that the CMO that has embraced AI and uses it and leverages it will replace you. And that could be a 25-year-old kid, because you can get really smart really fast when you've got these tools on board. Okay, when the board says, Lee, show me the business impact, of AI, obviously, how should CMOs kind of frame these investments so they're seen as revenue drivers, not science projects? How do they talk to the board? Because a lot of the board doesn't know.
Yeah, look, I think that's pretty straightforward. I think from a point of view of productivities, in terms of whatever the business is, whatever the business model is normally a relatively kind of simple thing to get done and measure. And a lot of CMOs will have a metric of CAC to LTV. So obviously cost of acquisition and how you use AI to do that. But we kind of advise our customers, really point AI at the biggest problems, that have the biggest metrics and the biggest kind of leverage if they have an impact. So, whether that be kind of conversion rates, whether that be, agents running SDR, BDR, lead qualification, cross-sell agents, all of these kind of things that will drive a specific business metric. Start there first. I think a lot of the fringe use cases, which look really, really exciting and look great, but actually when you measure them from a business impact, it kind of evaporates. I think they're the ones businesses are going to be really, 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 really aware of. I had a kind of quick anecdote. Customer a few weeks ago had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on agents that had, driven some really interesting impact, but none of that impact was driven on a business metric. So very, very difficult to prove, and hence then the project just gets canned. And I think that's really what I would advise, the CMOs to do is what's your biggest problem? What's keeping you awake at night? And then point AI at that problem. I think you're going to get a good impact.
Yeah, you're going to get a great impact because you're basically getting PhDs to study the problem and give you some answers. For me, to the board, you would have guessed it. I use AI to look across all the things that I'm doing. Now it's a manual process, right? Because we don't have MCP out on every single database, everything that we're doing. But you load it with all the reports and all the information, and then you show the board, hey, this is where I've saved money, made it more efficient. And of course, the AI creates a great narrative. I would rewrite it in my own language so that it looks more authentic, and it is authentic, but looks more like it's coming from you, so that you've actually studied it. Don't rely on AI to produce these things on its own without double checking. We're not there yet, not even close. So that's how I would do it, just to show the board, here's the real impact. This is a science project. We need to make more investments because ultimately it's going to make us far more efficient, far more effective, and far smarter.
1000%. Completely agree with that.
Okay, so the next biggest challenge that I'm hearing is, how CMOs could lead the AI adoption across teams, meaning, how they lead it across sales, marketing, and service, especially without creating more silos or resistance. How do you advise CMOs do that?
Yeah, look, I think the kind of that age-old term that CMOs have always kind of battled with, or that problem, is about how do we get aligned with sales and how do we get aligned with the wider business. I think if that now isn't in place, and obviously AI relies on data and having kind of good data models in the business and complete data, I think all of those kind of things is really, really important. I would say 1 out of 5 clients that we see where the ability to kind of really look at AI end to end as an AI layer that goes right the way through the business, from sales, marketing, and service. I think that's still a little bit away. I think what you've got is kind of the CMO is experimenting within marketing. You've got someone in the sales org who's kind of doing things around sales, using Gong, using agents for SDRs, BDRs. And then I think you've got the same in service and service ops. And I think really joining that up right the way through the line, right the way through the business is, the benefits are absolutely huge. The compounded effect of that are absolutely huge. But I would say, anecdotally, 1 out of 5 of our clients are in a position kind of right now to do it. But that's definitely the desired state of how you would want to approach this.
Okay, excellent. And just, I'm going to continue in this vein because I really like it. So let's think about if we're advising a CMO and we've created an AI readiness playbook. And if, you have CMOs, I think they've all tried, they better have tried at least ChatGPT. But if we were building an AI readiness checklist for CMOs, what are the 3 must-haves before going all in on AI?
Yeah, look, I think number 1 would be, probably everyone's going to guess, would be data. And I think that is, kind of, because obviously the models or the are not there yet on being really efficient at, kind of integrating all the different platforms. So, I think a lot of companies get huge benefit from tools now like Snowflake, Databricks, these kind of things, CDPs, either Salesforce or Adobe. There's a huge value that just adds huge amount of value there in terms of being able to adopt AI. The second one that we always talk about is the kind of people, and what's the organization's kind of willingness to engage in AI? Is there resistance? Is there a real culture of experimentation? And I think that's super, super important. We always talk about mindset within the company. Is the company, able to do that? And then I think the third one is vision. And that for me is more kind of important than anything. And, is the CMO able to set a vision for what that future state, that desired state marketing organization, marketing and sales organization looks like? I think everything else then becomes kind of a bit of a nice to have. If you've got those three things, you've got, reasonably good data, the availability of data, if you've got the mindset in the business and the people are on board and they're kind of willing to adopt and use AI, and then you kind of have that vision as a CMO that you can really take to the board. This is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. Here's the playbook. We expect some things will work, some things will fail, but they're the kind of things that we talk about as kind of the basics. Let's get that right.
Okay, yeah, I love it. Now, for our last three questions, I want you to put on your tinfoil hat or your prognostication robe. And the big question I think I'm asked, and I'm thinking myself, how do you think the role of the CMO will change over the next 3 to 5 years because of AI? And then what skills will separate the great from the average, do you think?
Yeah, look, I think you said it before. I think that, certainly in the short term, and I would say short term for me is probably the next 1 to 2 years, the CMOs that have mastered AI and, understand how it works, being able to prove they've deployed it, I think they're going to be the winners. And I think, there's going to be huge arbitrage from that in terms of value that the marketing team and the business can bring to the business in terms of ROI, obviously, because the teams are going to be smaller, they're going to be bigger impact, all of that kind of stuff. So I think in the next 1 to 2 years, I think that's what you see, and kind of see it now. You can see CMOs who have that AI kind of tinge, who can speak to it, can kind of demonstrate the knowledge about it. If you're a CEO, that's quite attractive, and they're the ones that are getting hired. I think if you outside of those 2 years, well, your guess is as good as mine, Mark. I'll give you what my theory is, and it's purely just a theory, but I really do feel kind of CMO is going to be really command and control. It's going to be very few humans and a lot of agents doing the work at huge scale, and it's going to be interpretation of data and all of that, that curiosity, that ability to relearn, all of those kind of things. Then I think that's what we'll see, but that's just a theory.
Yeah, no, I kind of subscribe to that. I think, though, it'll give us more opportunities to do even bigger and larger things. But I think, so here's just a prediction. Don't get mad at me. In 3 to 5 years, we're going to have AGI and then possibly ASI at the end of the 5th year. AGI is artificial general intelligence, and ASA is artificial superintelligence. And so with general intelligence, it's operating better than you will. Now, what does that mean for you? It doesn't mean it's going to replace you necessarily. It just means it'll be a smarter version of you that can do almost anything. And you have to learn how to leverage that. It's like working at a think tank, and you're the least intelligent one there. and deciding, okay, where are we going to point our problem? What do we want this think tank to solve? And how do you position it and do it in a way that's going to better the goals of the overall organization? Now, the AI will already know all that stuff because it'll have been fed that. So will CEOs say, do I really need a CMO anymore? I don't think so. I think you still need humans at the helm for the foreseeable future, because we're still more dynamic than AI is. AI is just really, really, really intelligent people. This is an analogy, of course, that could deliver anything you want, and you have to figure out what to ask it. Some of it will be proactive by then with these AI agents, like it'll be making suggestions on a like a minute by minute basis. But there still needs to be a human in charge. I see that in 3 to 5 years. Now we get into ASI, all bets are off. I have no clue. So I openly admit that, because that means they're way smarter than us. Plus, they're creating their own knowledge. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. I know Sam Altman's talked about the $1 billion organization run by one person. So that's probably going to become a reality. But from our point of view, I still think that we'll be able to do greater and better and more amazing things, especially when you put AGI and ASI on board robots. But I'm not going down that path. This is about marketing. So we'll skip that. But for the next 3 years, do me a favor, do everything you can to master AI, all the tools that are coming out. A lot of them, I agree with Lee, are going to fail, but you're still getting educated on it. And the things that work will get incorporated into the larger AI solutions. And there's going to be new things that come out, especially with AI agents that are game changing, that aren't even on the center stage yet. Okay, Lee, so next question. Wow. I mean, what's one thing that a CMO listening to this podcast should do tomorrow morning to start leading the AI shift in their organization?
Great question. Look, I would say this, Mark. I said, if you're a CMO listening to this now and you're not using AI, physically using it every day, in what you're doing in your day job, whether that be ChatGPT or any of the models or any of the SaaS models, then I would stop there, because I don't think it's one of the things you can outsource. My job as a CEO, I get huge kind of leverage from AI. I could probably do my day job in 2 days a week what I was doing a year ago. But I've invested the time, and I've invested the kind of the learnings, the trainings, and all of those kind of things to understand how the tools work. So that would be my recommendation. Don't outsource it. Don't rely on somebody else to kind of get you up the curve on what AI does or doesn't do. This is not something that you can do that with. You have to get in and start to use it yourselves. Then you'll see the power.
Couldn't agree more. This is not something you outsource. It's you remember all those execs that would print out their emails and have somebody type them up and then add it to their own emails. This is not even that was really bad, but this is even worse. You've got to understand it to understand what the power is. You got to use it daily, and there's no reason why you wouldn't. It's so much more powerful than what you're doing today. I assure you, almost everything. So that's for the beginning CMO into AI. I'd say for the more advanced CMO, bleeding edge, not bleeding edge, but pretty close to bleeding edge, start creating your AI agents. There are non-code platforms that you can create them. They're very vanilla, but at least you get to understand the power of these things. Pay attention to Model Context Protocol, MCP. This is basically an interface to all of the different systems that are out there that AI can pull information from, bring it into an LLM, or bring it into just a regular AI solution, and once everything's pulled into it, see things that you can't possibly see without a team of data scientists. But get on top of that. Stay ahead of it. Create your own, or if you know coding, which most people don't, You can code your own or find somebody that can code it for you, but you do all the directing. Create your first AI agents, because in the next year, these things are going to be doing some pretty powerful things, especially because the AI world, and I'm following this closely, is coming up with MCP standards. You remember in the internet first started, HTML, there was no standard around HTML. So you'd go to one browser, it would work on one website, it wouldn't work on the others. They understand this, and they're creating an MCP that will work across all different platforms. So that's coming. You'll see that in the next year, and I want you guys to stay ahead of it. Okay, so Lee, is there anything I didn't ask that I should have asked before we get into the final closing thoughts?
No, I don't think so, Mark. I think I think you've encapsulated it really, really well. I think get involved, see the power of it, and kind of reap the rewards. And and I think that's really, really the message that you're giving, that I'm giving, and that's what CMO should do.
Wonderful. And so, Lee, where can people get a hold of you, and how would they contact you?
Yeah, blueprintx.com, BLUPRINT, just to be clear, or lee.hackett at blueprintx.com. Get me on also on LinkedIn or Instagram, of course, all of those kind of places. And always happy to engage with the community and help in any way we can.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lee, for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.